Look at this map. The year is 2026, and the Mediterranean Sea does not exist. Where billions of gallons of water once flowed, there is now a blinding white, toxic salt desert stretching from Spain to Lebanon. Africa and Europe are violently welded together by an apocalyptic wasteland. At the Strait of Gibraltar, a terrifying concrete dam towers hundreds of feet into the sky, holding back the entire crushing weight of the Atlantic Ocean. This looks like an alien terraforming event, but it was a real plan. In 1928, German architect Herman Sörgel proposed Atlantropa. The plan? Dam the Mediterranean, evaporate the sea, and unite Europe and Africa for limitless energy and new land. For decades, global engineers took this seriously. But what if they actually built it? We fed the Atlantropa blueprints and modern climatology data into the AXIOM supercomputer. The input proves Sörgel didn't design a utopia. He designed a continental suicide engine. Let's run the simulation. To understand the 2026 apocalypse, AXIOM takes us to Europe after World War I. The continent is shattered, starving for energy and space. Sörgel realizes the Mediterranean is a giant evaporation basin. It loses more water to the sun than rivers can replenish. The only thing keeping it full is the Atlantic Ocean pouring through the narrow Strait of Gibraltar. His solution? Plug the hole. The simulation initiates in the late 1930s. A desperate Europe pools its entire industrial capacity to fund the Atlantropa megaproject. Phase 1 requires building the Gibraltar Dam. The logistics are incomprehensible. This isn't a dam spanning a river, it's a fortress spanning an ocean. The foundation is laid in turbulent water 900 feet deep. The structure must be 18 miles long and 300 feet thick just to survive the crushing hydraulic pressure of the Atlantic. It requires 40 times the concrete of the modern Three Gorges Dam in China. It takes 20 years. But by 1955, the Gibraltar Dam is complete. A smaller dam blocks the Black Sea. The tap is turned off. The Great Drain begins. Sörgel predicted evaporation would drop the sea level by 3 feet a year, eventually exposing 250,000 square miles of new land. At first, it's a miracle. Massive turbines inside the dam spin up, powering all of Europe. But AXIOM detects a fatal flaw. Sörgel was an architect, not a climatologist. In the 1960s, the first casualty is the coastal economy. Imagine Venice, Italy. Within a decade, the water simply walks away. Canals run dry, exposing centuries of rotting sewage. Venice becomes a stranded, disease-ridden ghost town sitting miles inland. This happens to Genoa, Marseille, Athens, and Alexandria. Trillions in maritime trade vanish. The Suez Canal empties into a mudflat. Southern Europe is instantly bankrupted. But the economic collapse is nothing compared to the thermodynamic nightmare. By 1985, millions of acres of new land are exposed. Sörgel promised a lush breadbasket to feed the world, but the AXIOM physics engine reveals a horrific truth. When you evaporate an ocean, the salt stays behind. The Mediterranean is highly saline. As the water vanishes, it leaves a suffocating crust of pure white salt, baked by the sun into concrete. This isn't soil, it is a hypertoxic, sterile wasteland, and this triggers a localized climate apocalypse. The Mediterranean Sea is Europe's radiator. It absorbs Saharan heat in the summer, keeping Italy and Greece temperate. But water absorbs heat. White salt reflects it. With dark water replaced by blinding salt, Europe's albedo effect triggers a thermodynamic collapse. Summers become scorching, Sahara-level droughts topping 130 degrees. Gentle coastal breezes turn into howling windstorms whipping across the salt flats. These winds pick up millions of tons of hypersaline dust, laced with heavy metals, and blow it directly into the heartlands of Europe and North Africa. The toxic dust acts like a biological weapon, destroying crop yields. By the year 2000, Atlantropa triggers a continental famine, and as the climate breaks above ground, the Earth's crust fractures below. removing 3.7 million cubic kilometers of water removes immense stabilizing hydrostatic pressure from volatile tectonic plates. AXIOM calculates severe isostatic rebound. The region is torn apart by massive earthquakes. Dormant volcanoes, including Mount Vesuvius, are jolted awake, erupting violently and plunging the suffocating region into a volcanic winter. While southern Europe burns, the rest of the planet faces a different apocalypse. The architects ignored the conservation of mass, displace 4 million cubic kilometers of water, and it goes into the global oceans. AXIOM calculates the terrifying cost. Lowering the Mediterranean raises the global sea level by a staggering 34 feet. The irony is apocalyptic. To create land for Europe, they drown the rest of the planet. Miami, New Orleans, and lower New York City are permanently flooded. The Netherlands is wiped off the map. In Asia, the agricultural heartlands of Bangladesh and coastal China are inundated with salt water. Hundreds of millions of climate refugees collapse the global economy. The world realizes the Gibraltar Dam is a weapon of mass destruction. In the early 2000s, a global coalition issues an ultimatum: destroy the dam or we will destroy it for you. But Atlantropa is the ultimate geopolitical hostage situation. If they shatter the dam, the Atlantic won't just flow back peacefully. It will breach the wall with the force of 1,000 Niagara Falls. AXIOM calculates a mega tsunami hundreds of feet high, moving at the speed of an airliner, violently scouring the basin. It would instantly obliterate millions of people settled in the new territories. Europe cannot keep the dam, but the world cannot destroy it without committing mass genocide. Humanity is trapped. Which brings the simulation to 2026. Herman Sörgel dreamed of uniting Europe and Africa in peace. Instead, AXIOM projects endless resource wars fought in a toxic salt canyon. The new land is uninhabitable for civilians, but the deepest parts contain concentrated pockets of rare earth minerals and hypersaline brine. The European and African blocs heavily militarize the rim. They send armored convoys down into the suffocating heat to harvest minerals, fighting vicious skirmishes in toxic dust storms. But the most terrifying element is the Gibraltar Dam itself. Today, AXIOM classifies it as the most dangerous structure on Earth. With the basin drained, the water level on the European side is hundreds of feet lower than the Atlantic. The dam is holding back the existential weight of a hostile, rising ocean. It is the most heavily fortified military installation in the world, surrounded by anti-aircraft batteries and engineers frantically patching microfractures in the aging concrete. Every nation in southern Europe lives with a gun to its head. If a rogue state, a hostile superpower, or a massive earthquake breaches the dam, the results are absolute annihilation. Geoengineering is the ultimate hubris. We look at a map and see lines to redraw. But the planet is a perfectly balanced thermodynamic machine. Pull one thread, like plugging the Strait of Gibraltar, and the entire machine tears itself apart. Sometimes, the best thing humanity can do with nature is nothing. The AXIOM engine is always running. Next time, we simulate North America. What if the South won the American Civil War, forcing a heavily militarized border across the US? Hit subscribe so you don't miss that output. Before you go, the algorithm left one variable unresolved. In a world of modern warfare and hypersonic missiles, could humanity successfully defend a single concrete wall for 100 years? Or is the violent destruction of Atlantropa a mathematical inevitability? Drop your logistical theories in the comments. Let's see if you can beat the algorithm. Keep questioning the timeline.